City champions, Newcastle top 4, and relegation for Leicester City.
Evening, Tate.
Evening, Jack. You all right?
Yeah, mate. How are you?
All good. All good. After a lovely regatta weekend.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Lovely weather and good day out with everyone
The
down
annual
at the
regatta
basin.
never disappoints.
No, yeah, I'm a rookie. I'd say, I've only been introduced to it last couple of years, but yeah, of your group, it's been a store, wasn't it?
That's what I was trying to think the word. What's store?
Something like that. Yeah, don't know. We'll stick with that.
Of the calendar, 100%.
Yeah, a date to put in your diary.
A year ago since Jordan and Kerry got married, and what perfect way for Jordan to spend his wedding anniversary at regatta.
Yeah, at the basin.
Absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
And congratulations to Freddie Bourne for
huge shout out to Frederick Bourne
winning the greasy pole competition.
So 6 in a row, I think he won, didn't he?
6 in a row, yeah. First ever Lager Lord to take part.
Yeah.
Undefeated champion. He's got
impressive.
to come back next year and defend.
Yeah.
There was lots of talk this morning that he's just going to retire and go into the sunset. But
yeah, maybe when he gets nearer, he'd have to. I mean, he has to go and defend his title.
Yeah, do people remember people who just win the championship once? You need to win multiple ones.
Yeah,
create a dynasty.
Yes, that was good. Wasn't it? Good day. Very good.
Fantastic day. So tonight's episode is going to be a end of season review of the season that was. 50 episodes ago. We did the season preview.
Yeah, a few good shouts in there.
And a few bad ones
as well.
some
stinkers, but...
Well, we'll start. We've got a few categories. Manager of the season, player of the season, signing of the season, biggest surprise, favourite game, flop of the season, young player of the season. That'll probably be in part 1. And moving on to part 2 will be team of the season. Well, me and Jack will discuss player by player our teams, and then at the end we'll make a joint decision.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're recording this about an hour ago since the news that Gary O'Neill has lost his job as Bournemouth manager. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I didn't expect it really. One of our predictions was Bournemouth to get relegated, and Gary O'Neill was not even in the picture, was he? I didn't expect him to be the manager, but yeah, he's kept him up, so he couldn't have done much better. You'd thought, surely, all right, he's not proven, he's not had any experience, but this season that's been his experience. That's been the year he's needed, and I thought, surely they'll just stay with him and carry on. But I think they've
already appointed.
They've got someone in, haven't they, already?
Yeah, Spanish.
He managed Rayo Vallecano, I think, recently,
and he played for Atletico Bilbao.
Yeah, bit of a strange one.
I believe. But well, before we get into that quickly, we'll just do the teaser. Because I was going to do our team of the season in part 2, but which player excuse me, my voice went there. Which player has been selected in the most PFA team of the seasons or team of the years? Premier League player.
Yep.
So obviously it was this. They did used to include prior to the Premier League, which is a different answer, but I've purely just done Premier League player.
Fine.
Right, let's go into the first category. Manager of the season.
Who starts off?
I've personally found this a tough one. There were Sky Sports did the graphic, didn't they? I think it was 6 managers that were nominated. What is it? Arteta, Pep, Emery, Howe, De Zerbi, and how many is that? 5, 6?
He said a few. Maybe it was. I don't know. I'm not sure who was in there, but
and there was maybe one more. I've gone for De Zerbi as my manager of the season. But I was torn between. I actually really liked the job Marco Silva done. I thought that was fantastic. But I think a lot of people had Fulham in their bottom 3. Yeah, and they weren't even at all. Yeah,
they were safe for a long time. That's why their season just sort of ended in nothing, into a nothingness, wasn't it? But
my reason for De Zerbi was, I remember we did the episode here with Freddie, and we were doing the manager 11, and Poster had just gone to Chelsea. And no one knew anything about De Zerbi. Has anyone heard about him? People think Brighton going to falter now as the wheels going to come off, but he's taken that job on and improved. I think they've got better. Which they finished 6th in the end, didn't they?
Yeah,
in Europa League football. After selling, I know Potter started the season, but they sold Cucurella, their best player. This was their best player from the season before. They held on to Casado in the January transfer window, and really without a striker again all season. I know Ferguson came in the past end, but De Zerbi, from someone who's been completely unknown, has just done an absolute stellar job. And these names getting muted around was previously for the Spurs job and higher up jobs. And
yeah, and I thought as well. Yeah, but I thought as well, like you're saying, that Potter was doing well, and everyone thought, "Oh God, Brighton are so good. Potter's doing a brilliant job," and that's why he was given the opportunity at Chelsea. And then, yeah, like you said, De Zerbi was unknown and come in and somehow probably made him better in even less time. And yeah, to come in mid-season, like as the season's begun, it's just he's done brilliantly, really.
Draws at home to Man City. He beat Arsenal away. I think his first game was a 3-3 draw at Anfield. He beat, top of my head, I've lost it now. But they got really good results wherever they went. They beat United. Yeah, beat United at home. That was what I was looking for. And they just, there's a reason you finished 6th, because they did really, really well. And I'm assuming it's the first time in Brighton's history they're ever going into Europe.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Or the Europa League.
Yeah.
And it's just an absolutely fantastic job.
And again, they obviously recently they've got their recruitment bang on. They don't spend loads of money. They go and find these sort of niche players from all over the globe, and yeah, he's not coming in suddenly. Right, January, there's 200 million. Go and get who you need. We're talking about Brighton. They've got a system. They've got a structure, and he's come in and fitted there absolutely perfectly. So.
Who lost Trossard in January? I think he actually had a bit of a falling out with De Zerbi. I think they got wind that he wasn't going to sign a contract, so he had to go.
Yeah,
so Arsenal got him. And they haven't missed him.
No, not at all. They said
Mitoma's stepped up. Other players have stepped up in his absence.
In less than a year, they've lost Basuma, Trossard, and Cucurella. Again, three of their best players at the time. No one, because Caicedo was obviously a good player, but no one knew that he was that good. And this season, he steps up. And like you said, Mitoma's come out of nowhere. And Cisso's had like a few games here and there where he's performed. Yeah,
and even the goalkeeper, Sanchez was quite a respected goalkeeper in the Premier League, playing for Spain, always in the Spain squad. And then all of that out of nothing, he played Jason Still out of thin air, who hasn't played a Premier League game ever, did he? And he's done a superb job, playing out from the back, and that's what he wants. And it looks like Sanchez is going to leave in the summer, and that's a great bit of management where he's seen. Obviously, Sanchez was good, but that's how you can improve his team. You even saw the goal they scored against Man City, how they were working out from the back, and they never phased. When I saw them at the Emirates, I think that was the best team I've seen there live all year, because they were absolutely fantastic. Yeah,
and they still have some bad results, and obviously Everton at home sticks out. The 5-1 shocking, and that is why they're Brighton. They're 6th. They're not suddenly going to win every game and finish top, but yeah, they're a brilliant side, and it seems like when they play the top teams as well, they're even better than usual. But yeah, no, De Zerbi's very good choice, very good.
What about yourself? Who have you lucked for?
Obviously, I think the obvious choice is Pep. Obviously, FA Cup, League, 3rd time in a row winning the league. Champions League, first for City with Pep as manager. Became the first manager to win the treble with 2 different clubs. Obviously, doing a treble. They're a brilliant side, incredible team. And the list could go on and on. I've got loads of little stuff about them, but I thought that's the obvious choice and that's the easy one. But I thought, similar to you, I went with Thomas Frank from Brentford. It's that classic like second season syndrome, but yeah, they're totally opposite to that. Finished 9th above Chelsea, above their West London rivals. Fulham obviously just got promoted, but even clubs like West Ham finished above Everton. Leicester got relegated. But yeah, little old Brentford, nickname bus stop in Hounslow. But yeah, more than throwing their weight around, and yeah, they finished 9th. They finished 9th. They scored the 7th highest amount of goals, 58, same as Man United. They only lost 9 games this season, same as Liverpool and Manchester United. That's half. They'd lost 18 2 seasons ago, lost 9 this year. They were 12 points better off than they were in their first season. Yeah, I just think again they've just been brilliant. Like I said, the little old side. Similar to Brighton, they have a system and a structure of how they get certain players and how they move certain players on. But yeah, Thomas Frank probably on the lowest budget, probably one of the lowest paid managers in the league. They're doing exceptionally well. But yeah, Ivan Toney scored 20 goals. And yes, he's been banned now and he's out of action for Brentford for the moment, but he's been brilliant. And with all those allegations and rumours and accusations, whatever, and they've obviously been sanctioned, it's true. With that looming over their probably most important player, maybe their best player they've seen. To have the season they still had, and the last 3 games of the season, for example, West Ham at home, win, City at home, win, Tottenham away, win. Get 9 points for those 3 games, all without Ivan Toney is brilliant. And yeah, again, another point in that, in a season where we've spoke about managerial changes, Gary Neal just been sacked from keeping Bournemouth up, but yet Brentford and Thomas Frank have sort of got under the radar, and they've still got him. And he's obviously, they've avoided that like disruption sort of thing, and they've just done very, very well. So yes, the obvious choice for me, Pep, but I think I'll stick with Thomas Frank. Yeah,
2 things like I said. I think going through these categories, there will be a lot of obvious choices.
Yeah, of course.
That we'll obviously touch on, but we'll also... The answer can't be Pep and Haaland.
No, yeah, exactly.
Although it could.
It could easily, yeah.
Could be.
But then that's like a 10-minute chat and there's no point in being there. Yeah.
I like the points that you brought up. I didn't realise how much better off they were than last season. Because, again, last year they looked like they could be in trouble for quite a while. But this year, again, not at all. Was it second game of the season? 4-0 United. They did the double over City. They must have beat Chelsea. So I'm sure they must have beat Chelsea. At least drew of them. They drew of Arsenal at the Emirates.
Yeah, I think they drew us at home and beat us away. So
yes, they did. They must have beat Liverpool. But they just looked it looked like a proper Premier League outfit this season.
Yeah, and that's ignore the name of Brentford and what you associate with them. But if you saw that team play, you'd be like, they're a solid, and which they are. They're a solid Premier League side, and for Brentford to become that in 2 seasons is very, very good.
And a point I've just thought of from the top of my head, losing their second best, or arguably best player to Man United in the summer, Christian Eriksen.
Of course, yeah.
He went on a free. Obviously, he signed a 6-month deal, but he went to United, and they haven't missed a beat, have they?
No, not at all.
And it's going to be very interesting for him. Like you said, second season syndrome last year. Now, how do you deal with it? How do you deal with a goal scorer?
And if potentially if they lose Raya, their number 1 goalie, again similar to Sanchez from Brighton, but in and around the Spain squads, and obviously a decent goalie, that's a big position to lose. And Tony then not playing. Yes, he didn't play for a few games, but such a long period without an influential player like he is. But I just think they're probably, if Everton would bite, obviously Leicester, Everton, they'd all bite their hand off for 9th in the Prem at the minute.
100%.
Yeah.
And there was actually a stage where they did tail off a little bit, I think, in January, or they had a few dodgy results, but 9th, like I said, is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, and I think, like you're saying, but like their man Fulham was sort of, and obviously Brighton and Villa stayed for the course of the season, but was sort of looking towards Europe and trying to sneak in, but it didn't quite happen. But I just think Brentford really, like I said, again, the obvious choice, Pep and all the rest of them, but I think, if you have dig a little deeper, then Frank, De Zerbi are probably very good shouts.
Can we go against the obvious choice for the next category? Player of the season. Yeah,
this is one of those you can't. You have to. Player of the season, Haaland has to
Erling
be.
Haaland
Has to be.
Yes, no, I've put /Rodri.
Yeah.
No, but
Rodri, I mean, he's
Haaland is. He was brought in, and it's the same with the next category as well, but we're still on this one. He was brought in to score goals, and he scored them in an absolute abundance. He is the record goal scorer in 1 season in Premier League history. That's the thing.
If you and it sounds ridiculous, but if he had scored 30, which is absolute outstanding amount of goals, if he had scored 30 Premier League goals, but City would have still done a treble and whatever, I'd have probably. You might have found someone else, or you could have definitely argued, and you can still argue, but you could definitely have a few options. But I think 52 league goals across all comps, you just can't really look anywhere else. 36 in the league. He's only 22 years old. Wins a treble in his first season with City. A new league, a new team, a new manager. Huge expectation. All the pressure is on, not necessarily him, but because they've signed Haaland, everyone's like, right, now you've got that man. You're gonna win this and do that. And he's delivered and some. So
it took him no time to do the 6-month betting in period or the 1 year betting in period that people often say of signings from abroad. Hit the ground running, 2 goals in his opening game against
was it West
Ham? Yeah. And never looked back.
No.
Would you say 52 goals?
Yeah.
52 goals in a treble winning season is nuts.
Ridiculous.
And that's ridiculous. There can only ever be one winner for that. Honourable mentions. you've got for an individual season, Harry Kane, I think.
Yeah.
30 goals in a struggling team is an outstanding achievement.
Yeah, definitely. There's even
got other Man City players in there.
You could have picked probably 2 or 3 City players. Harry Kane's a shout. Probably some Arsenal players in it. I think probably a theme throughout. And on my, is it the next one? No, in two categories time, it's a sort of a bad theme for Arsenal, but Saliba possibly, Jesus possibly, if they essentially didn't get injured and played the whole season. Odegaard for many Arsenal, probably a very, very good shout. It sounds ridiculous, but I think De Bruyne, we'll talk about him later on, but not for player of the season this year, which sounds ridiculous. He got 16 assists, his best ever, but almost, because of Haaland's goals and that man up front, he's just somehow gone under the radar, but he's still a ridiculous player.
Well, De Bruyne, I think, is a little bit like Salah in a sense. Salah's season this year, where he scored 16 goals, maybe 25 in all comps, because that's just his usual. It doesn't really matter. De Bruyne was so good, but that's what you come to expect now.
Yeah.
So if it's the same as if Kane scores 24 goals, we'd had a bit of an off year, but no, 24 goals is still
outstanding,
a very good season.
Yeah.
But it's because you've been that consistent for that many years. 16 assists. Okay, that's what it's meant to do.
Yeah.
No, that is what he's meant to do. But it's also that's a fantastic.
Yeah, no one's got close to him. So that's his own record, and everyone exactly that. It was it's De Bruyne. What would you expect? But that's his record. That's ridiculous. Yeah. But I think Erling Haaland first season treble, 52 goals. Yeah, ridiculous.
Signing of the season. Again, like we mentioned.
Yeah.
The obvious choice is Haaland. I've put him in there, but I want to talk about other players.
Yeah, agreed.
Manuel Akanji, I put in there. That was one that went under the radar on deadline day, I think, and they signed him. And you just thought, John Stones, Laporte, Ake, Diaz, surely he's just going to be back up. He was only 15 mil,
15, yeah.
Something like that. From Dortmund, and I thought if Dortmund really wanted him, they could have dug their heels in. They've shown over the years, if they really want to keep a player, they will dig in and make you pay a premium. I'm thinking Jadon Sancho, off the top of my head, Bellingham, and so on. But he's had an excellent first season in English football, playing left back, right back, centre half, literally superb.
And again, with similar points to what you said about not the classic, but usually players take a year or 2 and 6 months, whatever it is, but for Akanji to do it, when like you said, he come in and most people thought maybe third choice at best, he'll be playing the League Cup and second legs and whatever, coming on for half hour, but for a defender to play out of position and have the effect he's had, then it's been outstanding, I think.
Another honourable mentions were Nick Pope and Zinchenko.
Yeah, I didn't think about those two, but I've got a similar to what you sort of started with. I said obvious Haaland. I said Jesus as well. I feel like he was almost the catalyst for the change at Arsenal this season. And at the beginning of the season, it was like that Arsenal look incredible, but they've got Jesus up front who's leading the charge. They've got brought in Zinchenko. It's all working really well, and obviously got injured, and he sort of that rules him out of any category in my eyes. But I think Jesus could have been up there, like you said. Yeah, Zinchenko. Who else did you say? Sorry,
Nick Pope.
Nick Pope. Yeah, there's a few of those that have definitely could have been picked. But I've actually gone with Ben Mee for mine, and I think I took the mick out of him before, weeks and weeks ago.
PE teacher,
PE teacher. But he's not a world beater, and even now he's not a sensational centre back. But sort of following on from the Brentford theme, from the previous season, he was ended as a player coach with a relegated Burnley side, and then for some reason Brentford signed him, got him on a free transfer in the summer, 32 years old, and more than capable of performing on a weekly basis for Brentford, and he's played 37 games in the league, like I said earlier, but helped to gain only 9 defeats. They got I think a positive goal difference, maybe 10 or 11 in their favour, and he's not like a Rolls Royce centre half, but he's your classic blocks, tackles, heads and volleys, and English strong centre back, and he's helped Brentford massively. I don't know if he was going in there thinking, I'm going to play every week, and I'm going to really even Thomas Frank probably thought maybe he'd just be rotational and whatever else. But he's come in free transfer. Don't really get much better than that.
I actually had him in my fantasy team because they're good for a clean sheet.
Yeah.
And he actually popped up with a couple of goals here and there. He scored against United, didn't he?
As a centre-back, don't worry, he's not scoring like 10 or 12, but the odd goal, I think he might have scored 3 or 4 in the league, which is pretty good as a centre-back. Yeah.
I do remember him scoring against United, and that was like one of his first Premier League goals or something. But I remember he put like a funny post up saying, we've just won 4-0 and I scored against Man United. It was like, what the hell?
Yeah, no, I thought, and his story, like, he started at City, obviously didn't quite make it there, went to Burnley, and he's only 32 really, and I think that's quite young now for a footballer.
Well, I like your point you made. I remember watching him get relegated last year as a player manager. I think he had a knee injury all around for the season. That's why he took on the role. And to be sitting here in 12 months' time, knowing that he's probably going to be starting the first game of the season again for Brentford, it's quite
a turnaround. Like, if you think, I know, he's a professional footballer and he knew he was going to play, so he got himself fit and all the rest of it. But you stop playing, he might be trained, who knows? But into management, and then suddenly you're starting every game for Brentford, and like you said, going to possibly start every game next year. It's quite a turnaround. So I think signing for me a little under the radar one, Ben Mee.
And then biggest surprise. Do you want
to do youngest player?
Yeah, youngest player. Your youngest player first.
I'll start off probably.
Are we going to do, what was it, PFA? What was it, 23, isn't it? I think that's
ridiculous. I don't know who you'd chosen, but I've done not research, but you look online and what, for example, I think Carragher or Neville might have said Odegaard, and he's 24, and don't get me wrong, like, he's young and it's fine, absolutely fine. But I thought, I stuck. Mine's 21 years old. He's a 21-year-old, your mate, Bukayo Saka. Is that yours?
That's what I said at the beginning of the season. It has to be. It can only be. He's finally won it. Like, he should have won it last 3 years in the trot, but they've given it to Foden. Yeah, they could have easily given it to Foden, just winning.
Yeah, easily could now, easily. Yeah, but Saka, 14 goals, 11 assists, 21 years old, and he's one of, if not the most important player for Arsenal in their system.
He's the main man. Yeah. He is, as much as, like you said, Jesus and Zinchenko and Saliba have come in and been the catalyst for a change. It always comes to him. If he doesn't play, he played 38 games out of 38. He's played something ridiculous, like the last 70 odd Premier League games on the trot, and he's just so important for that team, how he works, and he's getting the fruits to his hard work, and he's got his new contract now. And I was actually listening to an Arsenal podcast, and they said, this is from first game of the season next year, a lot of these Arsenal players, including him, will now be judged on not being the nice young boy that's obviously come from. Now you're judged on, you've now got a new 4-year deal on 300 grand a week. You need to perform these levels every single season.
And that's the maddest thing. He's actually 21 years old. Yeah. And he'll probably be one of those players that you think, he's been around for ages. He must be like 38 or something, but he'll be like 29 or something, just there in his prime. But just those stats: 14 goals, 11 assists. As a wide player, he's a out and out wide player as well. Yeah. He's not like doesn't play behind a striker or as a centre. Like, he's a wide man, and he's just very, very good numbers. And he's had his moments, like some bad moments, i.e. the penalty at West Ham. Obviously, a huge moment to forget about, but not just his goals and assists. But I'm sure I don't watch Arsenal all the time, but I'm sure there's games and moments like that one you always say, the classic eye test. He hasn't scored 20 and got 20 assists, and in a game he may not have been involved in any of the goals, but his run or his pass that he makes or his tackle and then he plays it off someone. When you watch a game, you're like, bloody hell, he's a good player. That's what he's becoming or has become already.
Yeah, well, like you just brought up there, he has become that guy. I remember Spurs did it at the Emirates. They had Son tracking back and they had Ton the whole time, and that's where the first goal came from, because Son came across, or I think it might have been Højbjerg as well, came across, doubled up. He played it across to White, played it to Partey. He with a free man where he's come out and then they scored. Yeah. And because they were so fixated on stopping him, you let another gapper. And that's the player he's become. But now it's his challenge to overcome that and make sure, like, if you've got two players on, that's a detriment to the opposition team to find the spaces around them. And the best players do that.
And that's what I've got here as well, that teams are now, this season definitely, and obviously the coming seasons, but it's now Tottenham play Arsenal, right, how do we deal with Saka? If we stop Saka, we've probably got a chance of doing this and scoring, or we might get a point, whatever, might win the game. And that's credit to him and how good he's become this season over the last couple.
I think a personal highlight for him was the 2 home games, one against Liverpool, one against United, both won 3-2, and he scored the 2 winners in both. No, sorry, Nketiah scored 2 in that game. Apologies, but he scored an absolute cracker in that game. But scored the 2 goals against Liverpool and the late winner in the penalty in that game. And he's a top player, and hopefully for me continues.
Yeah, and
continues
that's
on that
the
trajectory. And for England,
yeah.
and for England as well. Like with the Euros coming up next season, is the Euros, isn't it, next season?
Yeah, and that's with the contract, like you said. Does it go to his head, or do his performances suddenly drop, or is he going to carry on the way he is and just totally ignore the money, or not ignore the money, but that's not going to faze him. He's just going to continue on this path that he's on. But I think young player, unanimous decision on Saka.
Biggest surprise?
Go on, let you kick us off.
I've gone for 2, but I'm actually going to focus more on. So I've put it as a surprise, but actually on episode 1, you had them as your shout of the season, and they're going to have a very, very bad year. Was Leicester? Like they obviously had a traumatic is the wrong word. Summer is they had a
pretty stale. Nothing.
Summer. Nothing happened. Like you could sense there was a bit of trouble going on there. I thought there might be no way did they ever think they'd be going relegated.
No.
I should have wrote it down actually and done a bit more research on this. But has there ever been a team that's gone from did they finish 5th last year or 6th?
They were 8th last year, but they had finished. Yeah, they were like top 6 and won the FA Cup. And
has a team ever finished 8th and then got relegated? I don't know. From that fall from 2 different,
it's a
massive drop. And like I said, they missed out on the top 4 a couple of seasons before. On the last day, recently won the FA Cup 3 years ago, 2 years ago. And to be relegated to that squad, I know it's one of them cliches though that they're too good to go down on paper. And throughout the season, you then look at the team and you think, they are crap. But at the beginning of the season, it's like anything. When the beginning of the season comes around,
on paper, it was like Tottenham, for example. Everyone had us top 3, top 4, at least top 4, and look at us now.
When you're going good, you think, Everton away, win. Brentford at home, win that. Another home game against Brighton, win that. But when you're bad, you're like, Dyche away, or this is sticky Brentford. Brighton are a good team actually, and then you think that's how we're going to get points. When you're winning, I remember that was the thing I had last year with Arsenal. We were winning all the time, so I was like, Brentford away, why not? There's not. I can't make an excuse not to think we're going to win.
You turned up to a game like, well, it's not going to. It's going to be 3 or 4. Like it's not how if we're going to win. It's going to be 5, 6.
But I had Leicester because I was. And still, I'm generally shocked they got relegated.
Yeah, but they've gone down because of that idiot Brendan Rodgers, and he just wormed his way out of it.
Like Bournemouth and Fulham, who I think were both. I'd at least had one of them down. Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, even like the 3 promoted sides. Then you've got Southampton, the state they're in, Everton, even I know Dyche come in and they've stayed up, but there's Leeds. Like there's a whole list of sides that Leicester should just walk over. But Brendan Rodgers was having a torrid time, and again, we don't know what goes on behind the scenes. It could be all sorts happening, but he was in charge, and he essentially he cost them their Premier League status, I think. But I agree. That is a big surprise. Like I said at the start, I thought they'd have a bad season, but I was going to have Leicester, but I've gone Newcastle getting into the top 4. And we all know about their money and their potential they have, but they haven't gone out and bought world-class European talents just yet. They have a good squad. They got that Isaac in the summer, the Swedish striker, sort of like he was sort of touted to be the next best thing. Didn't quite jump to it straight away, but he's slowly becoming the player that people maybe thought he could have been. And that's an example of their spending. But they have Eddie Howe in charge, and his highest finish before this was 11th last season with Newcastle. To go from 11th to 4th is very, very impressive. I think as the season developed, people thought, Newcastle quite good. They'll sneak into the top 4, but I don't think anyone had them before, really. I'm not sure what you thought.
I didn't think they'd get in top 4, but then who had Liverpool finishing?
No,
having an absolute stinker.
No,
who had Chelsea being that bad and like not even compete? Like
no. You
think, and Spurs as well.
Yeah.
Spurs, Liverpool, and Chelsea finished quite a way outside the
Yeah,
top four, didn't they?
of course. And this season was sort of similar to the previous season in that it was a massive opportunity for two or three sides to get into the top four, and Newcastle and Manchester United have done it really. But I think Newcastle top four. Like I said, Eddie Howe in charge has still got a load of the players that have been there for a few seasons now.
That's the main thing for me, is that they have spent money. There's not too much about it, but there is the nucleus of that squad is still Jacob Murphy.
You've still got Dan Burn, left back. Right.
Almiron.
Yeah. Joe Linton still plays. Joe Willock still plays.
Callum Wilson. Callum Wilson's a solid player, but if you're spent all this money, you'd think, I know they've got Isaac, for example, but there's still... Yeah, there's still a nucleus of that core squad that were bottom of the league last year.
And Nick Pope, he's a very good goalkeeper, and talk about him in a moment. But he's not like a world class. He's not England's number one, is he?
Got relegated last year.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah, exactly that. He got relegated with Burnley. He's not a show like blockbuster name, is he? He's still a very goalie. But yeah, there's just the list of their players, and I think Eddie Howe's done a brilliant job, and I think, so I thought, maybe they'll get rid of him soon, but I think they might keep him for longer than what everyone expects. And they're top four. It's obviously very, very good for Newcastle.
Favourite game? Have you got a... Well, I've actually got a favourite Arsenal game and then a favourite neutral game. Was there any Spurs games that you liked this year?
No, I didn't even think about Tottenham. I just thought about a single game. But you can go. I'll let you start.
My favourite Arsenal game was the home win, I think, this season against Man United.
Yeah, nice.
3-2, 1-0 down to Rashford screamer. My mate Eddie equalised. Then we went 2-1 up, Saka, lovely goal, 2-2. And then in the 92nd minute, Eddie pops up with the winner. Just absolute scenes.
Yeah.
For someone who I bought the Nketiah shirt like 2 weeks before that. And that was like... I was like, come on, lad. Jesus had been injured. And I was like, come on, lad. Kick on, get some more goals.
Was you at that game, or was it the one when you had the Nketiah shirt? Was it that game?
It was a West Ham game.
Was that after?
No, that was the first. That was Boxing Day.
Right.
I had the shirt then.
Yeah,
this was in January, that game.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's when I debuted it and took all my layers off next to the hammers.
In the freezing cold.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Good. That. No, it would have been that United game, and that did give me a sense of, can we?
Yeah.
Can we do this?
Mm.
But no, that was my Arsenal game. Neutral. Do you want? I'll let you go. We might have the same.
No, I don't doubt it.
No, well, is yours going to be City versus Arsenal then?
Yeah, it is. You teed it up quite nicely, but Man City 4, Arsenal 1. The KDB double. Stones nodded one in. Haaland as well. It was teed up as the crunch game. But Arsenal there was a slight signs of stuttering, and no one really knew. A lot of Arsenal fans obviously believed, and they felt like it could happen. But City turned up that evening and just dismantled Arsenal completely. And Pep and City performed to another level that we've seen now. But up until that point, no one knew they could be that good, and everyone knew how good they were. But somehow got even better, and they just showed the league what is required to beat them and win the league. And that night, I think, sent out the message saying to Arsenal, it wasn't over then, but I think maybe mentally, but I just think they said, right, if you want to compete, you've got to do this. Basically, you've got to be as good as us, if not better. And I think as our season, Tottenham's horrible season. That was my favourite game. Yeah, no,
it was one of them ones. Arsenal. It went from, in the 2 weeks leading up to it, Arsenal can lose this game. Arsenal can draw this game. Arsenal must win this game.
Yeah.
And that was the pressure, and he had a pressure. And like you said, Arsenal haven't qualified for the Champions League in 7 years, and City have just won it. There's a big golf. There's a good golf in these teams. City won the treble. Fantastic. And that's what happened. I'm not making excuses, but you saw the class between Erling Haaland and Rob Holding.
Yeah, of course.
It was
definitely.
Yeah, it was a fantastic game to watch for a neutral. Yeah, I imagine.
It was just I think the first goal, De Bruyne's first goal was just ridiculous finish. But as I said, Tottenham's games were not even the ones we won, and it just wasn't a great season to watch. Like I said, even the games we actually won were painful enough. So I can't really. off the top of my head, I can't think of a Tottenham game.
My neutral game is Liverpool 7.
Yeah.
Manchester United.
That was nearly a surprise for me, but yeah, that was brilliant.
That was quite fantastic, to be fair. Who wins 7-0?
Yeah.
Liverpool even won 7-0 and 9-0 this
Yeah.
year, but
Still.
7-0 to United. It's one of them ones that will live long in the history for Liverpool fans and United fans as well, of thinking they just got whacked big time. They think they just won the Carling Cup maybe a bit before and then got whacked straight back down to earth.
Yeah. Well, United lost 7-0, got smashed by City 6-3. They got beat by Brentford at the start of season 4.
It was very enjoyable for an anti-United fan. It was quite joy. Flop of the season. So have you looked at this as a player, a club?
Well, I had thought about it all, but my choice is a club. But some of my notes, I'm pretty sure I think I know the person you're going to go with. I don't know, you might have gone different, but a lot of people listening probably say straight away Richarlison, and that's absolutely fine. And that's maybe not a lot of obvious people choices, but I've got Richarlison question mark, 27 appearances in the Prem, 1 goal, 4 assists, 6 appearances in the Champions League, 2 goals, 3 goals at a World Cup, man, one of them being an outrageous goal. So, for £60 million and the performances he's put in for Tottenham haven't been great. But yeah, I just thought I'd get that one out of the way.
So, I've done a similar thing. I've got Richarlison question mark. I've then done a club question mark, and then I've actually got my actual answer in capital letters.
Oh, I might. Is your actual answer a player or a club?
Neither.
Is it a go on, you go.
No. My flop of the season is Frank Lampard.
Yes. Yes, I love it. Mine's closely linked to Frank Lampard, but yeah.
Absolute beat the out shit show.
Yes.
He started the season off at Everton, and he horrific. Got sacked there. They were in the relegate. Whatever. Horrific job there. Sean Dyche kept him up by winning against Bournemouth at home. That's how close they were to going down. Sean Dyche won more games than Lampard had done in the last. Or even at Chelsea, he won more games. Lampard somehow got a job at Chelsea. Won 1 game against Bournemouth, and everyone gets their win against Bournemouth.
Yeah.
I think he drew to Forest, and he got another draw against last game of the season, Newcastle, and lost the other 8 games.
And I think they scored 1 actual goal. I think they scored an own goal. Like the other team scored no. I think.
Yeah, Gallagher got
the goal at Newcastle was
goal.
They're just all. Lampard's a great shout.
The whole setup there was just Chelsea. You could put any signing under the thing down there. They were all crap, but that man cannot manage to get. I'm not going to go as far as manage never again in the Premier League, because he probably will somehow. But next season, come on.
He just has to be Football League. Has to
Premier
be.
League owners.
Yeah.
You can't even think about hiring this man.
Yeah. I think if in a youth system, even at Chelsea, like the under-16s, under-18s, whatever, like it'd be pretty. Imagine being a young lad and Frank Lampard, man, that'd be fantastic. But yeah, he's shown now, bloody hell, he can't be given a top job. And I mean by top job, I mean just 1 to 20 in the Prem. He cannot be given a Premier League job. There's no positive reason as to why you'd hire that man.
His next move would be some £10 million a year to Saudi or something like that, and just manage to somehow get out of it.
Yeah, you're right. Flop of season, Lampard, and like I said, linked to my main choice is Chelsea Football Club. The new owners arrived. Essentially, the main man, Todd Bowley. I know it's not all about him, but he seems to make it all about him. Comes in, removes Tuchel, who was liked by the fans. He won the Champions League with them. He wasn't in a great moment, but they got rid of him. Appointed Graham Potter, who himself could have been a flop of the season. Was doing well with Brighton on the up, and then goes to Chelsea and falls flat on his face. Chelsea, they spent over £500 million on players and managers. End of the season, 12th in the Premier League, and like you said, with Frank Lampard as an interim, who shouldn't be a manager of any Prem clubs ever again. Yeah, just Chelsea, a disgrace of a season. Absolute disgrace. And
the news breaking today, it looks like they might even get away with all of it if they can sell half their players to Saudi.
Talk about sports washing. That is plain sight. That is clearly obvious. And if you're listening and you're a Chelsea fan and you're close friends of us, we're talking about the Johnsons. Yes, you, JJ, you fake Ipswich fan. But no, you just cannot even have a conversation with me or anyone about that's good business or whatever. it's obvious. It's so obvious. The Saudis are buying your players because they have probably a monetary interest in Chelsea, so they don't want to lose that asset. And
the prime
it's
example
just so
it
obvious.
looks like Koulibaly's agreed a deal for like 25 to 30 million pound. He's on. They signed him a year ago. He's 31, 32 for 30 million pound. So how are you making your money on him after he's been shit?
And he's like one of the highest paid players at Chelsea.
Like it's a nice dodgy thing. And it looks like Mendy, Ziyech,
Kante's already gone.
Kante, and Koulibaly. 4 players to Saudi. Like, are you serious?
And I think 2 or 3 at the same club. Yeah.
It's going to be interesting over Chelsea, though, because obviously these talks about Havertz going, Mount going. It's actually a point I want to make. I think we'll see more top players from top clubs moving around. I used to always find it quite interesting that in Syria, Pirlo, for example, played at AC. I think he even might have had like a stint at Inter for like when he was younger.
He was at Juve as well,
Juve,
Pirlo.
And they all Zlatan all played for all 3. Ronaldo, for example, played for both of them again, and it very rarely happens here. Like
in England, it's a massive shock.
Players, it's more.
It's
of a
big
shock.
deal, yeah.
Like Van Persie, played for both.
Tevez did it at City when they were on the up.
I'm trying to think. At their prime as well.
Their
prime, and I think you'll see more because Havertz. They want to sell him. The market for Havertz, there isn't one outside of Europe because they can't afford him. They can't afford a player that hasn't quite hit the heights. And there was talks about maybe Real Madrid looking at him, but
I saw Bayern Munich say, but I think that might just be too late, isn't it?
I don't see players like even Richarlison, for example. There isn't a market for Richarlison now. You're going to have to get £50 million for him somehow. You might see more players with Mount, for example, I'm saying, and Havertz and I don't know, Sterling gone to Chelsea, and you see these players. I think will be more because the money is all the Premier League, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's where they're going to have to go if they want to keep these players.
Yeah, and like you said, I'd say it was more of a. It's been in the past. It's more of a big deal, isn't it? It's like, oh my God, Van Persie's gone to United, or whoever's moved to Chelsea, and all the rest of it. But yeah, I think, like you said, we're the clubs with the money. The top 7, 8 clubs have got all the money, so like exactly that. Havertz can't be bought by most other clubs in the world, so he's probably going to go to a Prem side. But yeah, I think quickly back to flop of the season: Chelsea, Lampard, anything that Graham Potter, take your pick, Todd Bowley, anyone.
Any signing, Cucurella, Fofana,
Koulibaly,
Mudryk,
and
Loftus-Cheek.
Well, yeah, within that, he's finally gone, hasn't he? I think
I
think he's been finally released, just in time for Love Island. But yeah, I think Chelsea's got to be up there.
Yeah, I think is that enough for?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, definitely.
And we'll be back with the team of the season.
So this part we're going to move on to the team of the season, but just before we do that, we've got some questions coming on Instagram from a couple of the fans that are out there. First one, I'm going to put it to you, Tate, but we'll discuss them all. It's from Owen on Instagram. He says, what were the top 3 most unexpected results of the season?
Well, I'll kick this off with my result of the season was the 7-0. I don't think it was necessarily unexpected result in the sense that Liverpool beat United at Anfield. More of the manner of it. 7-0 is outrageous.
Yeah, ridiculous. Yeah, I don't think anyone, because that was on that weekend as well. Again, I suppose we had loads, but Super 6 where you predict the results. No one's getting the money and no one's saying 7-0. So yeah, it was ridiculous. But no, that's definitely one, if not the one. Unexpected. The start of seeing Brentford United, was it 4-0?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Yeah. And at the time, everyone was in meltdown, weren't they? Man United, they're rubbish. Martinez is too small, and all sorts happening. Ronaldo's finished. Yeah, it was. Ten Hag out. It was. Yeah, Ten Hag's rubbish. Who's this bloke we got? So yeah, it was all happening, and yeah, I think that 4-0 is shocking. And
another result, I think, finally, the one you actually touched on earlier, is the reason Everton Football Club is still a Premier League club. Is Brighton won, and this of all of them, I think, is the most shocking one.
Yeah.
In terms of even as a result as well, because I thought there was no chance in hell that Everton were ever getting a result, and Everton to win 5-1
and score 5 as well. Because again, I don't think they scored probably one least amount in the season. Yeah, and like you said, on paper, Brighton are a good side at home. Yeah, easy win for Brighton, but yeah, 5-1 is ridiculous. And I think at the time we said it, but all the teams battling for relegation at the time probably thinking like, Brighton, what have you done? Like, why have you done this?
And that would have, if they had just lost that, for example, I know things can change, and blah, 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 but if they had lost that, they would have finished 19th.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
That's how tight it was, that one game, and it was mad.
And that question, again, was from Owen, but we had another one from Shavaz who says, most shocking match result, and out of those three, possibly, you could argue for any of them, I suppose, but the 7-0 is quite emphatic for me.
It's very poignant, is that the word?
Yeah, poignant. Great word.
It just stares you in the face, and you just think, wow.
Yeah, it's just bad. And after a season of United people, fans, whoever associate with clubs, saying how good they are, they got to FA Cup final, we won the League Cup, got into the top 4, but also got beat 7-0 by your biggest rivals, yes, Man City, but everyone knows Liverpool Man United is the biggest rivalry. Beat 7-0. I think that like you said, that will be in the memory for a long, long time. And the last question from David Howard said, the most arrogant moment of the season could be a manager or a player.
I think I know what your manager one might be. My player, I would say Cristiano Ronaldo, how he acted. I was always quite a fan of his, and I was like really admired, like he's just an ultimate goal scorer and individual, but I think he just handled himself really, really poorly. That was in them 6 months this season. I remember him storming off. I think they might have beat Spurs 2-0 or something at Old Trafford, and he stormed off, or when he went and shook like the pundits' hands, and because someone questioned him, he ignored Carragher, and then didn't ignore Neville the next time. And
he did.
It's just, you're nearly 40, mate. Like, grow up.
You're one of the best players ever to play.
Come to the realisation that you are slowly. I know it must be really hard to not be once who you were, but come on. And they're Man United clearly trying something new this season. Like, try and get on board with it. You're meant to be a Man United legend, and I think it ended really poorly on his part.
It was sour, wasn't it? Sour ending. But not that, like David said, it wasn't necessarily each topic, but I've got, for the manager, I'd probably, Klopp for me, Jurgen Klopp. Just in general, he's just an arrogant human, and I'm sure if you're a Liverpool fan, you absolutely love him. They do, that's fine, but there's been multiple times this season and in previous seasons. But the one for me was the penalty. Was it the penalty even against Arsenal? I think, wasn't it, at home, when he didn't face the penalty and Salah missed. And he just assumed they scored, and just a prime example. And even when he pulled his hamstring, like even that little moment was slight arrogance, like him charging down at the fourth official, and then Karma just his hamstring just falling to pieces. But
against Spurs, that was it.
I think it was, when it was all booing off. But I dislike the man anyway. But for me, just a arrogant man.
And an honourable shout out for Antonio Conte's press conference.
He could sneak in there.
We spent enough time talking about that. Yeah. No, thank you for the questions.
Yeah, good questions.
I really enjoyed them ones.
As always, thanks for getting involved. But we'll move on to our team of the season.
Do you want to kick us off in goal?
Yeah, we mentioned him briefly earlier, but
we are, to the listeners out there, Jack's got his team, I've got my team, and then we'll
have a discussion.
And
agree to disagree, I'm sure. But start off goalkeeper. I've gone for Nick Pope. Part of the reason why Newcastle have conceded the least amount of goals, only 33, same as City. And he's had one or two huge errors. For example, I think the Liverpool one when he come charging out week before the cup final, red card. Obviously misses the cup final, and in that game was a poor moment. But made some important saves. I think was he like one of the first goalies in so long to save a Tony penalty at Brentford.
Yep.
And again,
a couple of penalties. One against
Forest. No.
It might have been Forest, but he did definitely save one against Leeds.
Yeah.
Patrick Bamford.
That was it, Leeds away, yeah. And like I said earlier, he's not like a blockbuster, huge world-class name, but he's more of a textbook English goalkeeper. But Newcastle are fourth, and Pope's probably the first name when he's fit, if he can play on the team sheet every week. So I just think he's been very good. Obviously Edison is a very good goalkeeper. Alisson is a very good goalkeeper for Liverpool, and I think he's had a very good season. And there's others in there, but I just think the season Newcastle have had and all the rest of it, I think, Nick Pope for me.
100% agree with you. I've got Nick Pope
Yeah.
as well. I put a fantastic signing.
Yeah.
A big improvement on what they had before. They had Dubravka, was it last year?
Dubravka, yeah.
He's been a solid little goalkeeper over the years, but Nick Pope wasn't a stellar sign, but he's been such a great player in that back four and has been, like you said, considered the same goals as Man City. That's unbelievable and fantastic. And he's, like you said, he's a solid professional who will make, over 38 games, you will make one or two mistakes, but for the most part, he's been absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it's just been a good goal. And like I said, that's why you don't read too much into the stats. But like De Gea's had the most clean sheets, but he wouldn't be anywhere near anyone's team this season. No, they'd absolutely despise and they want him gone. So yeah, I think Nick Pope's obviously us two now is quite an easy choice.
Moving on to right back, we might have the same here, but I've gone for another Newcastle player in Kieran Trippier.
Yep, I'll let you explain. But yeah, I've gone Trippier as well.
Well, as Newcastle, been an incredible season for Newcastle, gaining qualification back to the Champions League for the first time since 2002 and 3. Trippier played every single game and was the only Newcastle player to do so. And he's been a constant in that team. He's great outlet, crosses, assists, captain now. He was the first signing of the new era, and he's like, might sound cliche, but it's the perfect signing to do that. He's not a Robinho. He's not a Neymar. He's someone who's come in, wants to prove he can still make it at the top level. You see Southgate picks him all the time. He's a solid right back, and he's been fantastic. He must be up there with the most assists this season for a defender.
7 assists he's got,
and
a few goals.
A few goals from free kicks, important goals as well. Just being a solid. There was honourable mentions for Ben White. You could have any Man City defender for the right back, but you wanted to. But no, I just thought he's been outstanding personally.
Yeah, like I said, Trippier as well for me. I've gone 4 at the back. I don't know. Yeah, you've gone 4 as well. I'll start with the left back and then we'll go into the centre backs. But left back, I felt like we were pretty limited in this area as a genuine left back.
Agreed.
But I've gone for Luke Shaw. I think a lot of people have the pundits and all that have gone for Luke Shaw, but I think probably a similar reasoning in that you're pretty limited as a genuine left back. But yeah, I feel like Ten Hag's come in and trusted Shaw. Obviously likes him a lot, his ability as a left back, but has played centre back when needed and if needed because of he doesn't like Mr. Maguire. But yeah, won the League Cup. Got to the FA Cup final and a top 4 finish. I don't think Shaw's been exceptional and set the world light, but he's been solid, I think. And yeah, I think again left back's pretty poor on the choices. Yes, you can go into City players, but
yeah. So there was obviously mentions for Ake, who's played there a little bit. Estepinian, I think
Estepinian, yeah, from Brighton.
Was in Carragher's team of the year.
Yeah.
I was struggling at this one. I was reluctant. I'm reluctant to pick this choice, but the reason I've picked Zinchenko. Just because, like you said at the beginning of the show, he's transformed how Arsenal are thought of and how the mentality around that team, how he's come in, played in this hybrid role, and I think he's done really, really well at it. Unfortunately, only played 27 times for Arsenal. Defensively, he's not top draw, but when we're clicking, he is one of the most important players in the middle of the park. He's got a couple of assists. He scored an important equaliser away at Aston Villa, it was. And I just think he's been a fantastic signing in that squad to boost them up. Shaw's obviously had a very good season, and as a defender, probably been better. Like you said, he's trusted him centre half instead of Maguire. But I don't know. For me, Zinchenko was just, when he was on form and Arsenal were playing well, then we looked. Remember one game against United, he was just literally playing, I think, like 80 passes, and was just everything was going down his side, and he just controlled game after game after game.
Yeah.
It's tough one. There wasn't, like you said, there wasn't.
Much. I'm happy to have Zinchenko in there. If he'd have played probably majority of the season, definitely just first, probably one of the named straight in the back 4. But yeah, I feel like even yourself, you sort of in your explanation, it was like sort of like you said, you had to sort of dig deep a little bit to try and find someone. But yeah, I think left back was pretty limited. But yeah, Zinchenko obviously very, very good.
Do you want to start with?
Yeah, I'll name. I've got 2 obviously, but yeah, I'll go 1 to start off with. John Stones. I think he speaks for himself really. his name. He's technically not played as a traditional centre back this season, but that's his default position. And he's had a fantastic season. Pep's transformed him as it's progressed into this like weird, basically it's not this hybrid, it's just basically a centre midfielder, and ends up running up the pitch, number 10, getting on the ball and creating things, which is mental. But yeah, I think as a centre back, I absolutely love him at centre back for my team. So yeah, John Stones for me.
I've actually gone for both of John Stones' teammates.
Oh, interesting. I've gone. You go first.
So I was tossing and turning between Lewis Dunk. I thought, is that too?
Trying to be too trendy.
Trendy.
Yeah.
He has played very well. You could have had your mate Ben Mee in there.
Yeah.
But I've actually gone for Akanji and Ruben Diaz.
Oh, interesting. Well, I'll stop there because my other choice is Ake. So basically, whoever we put out, it don't matter.
We've gone for all.
Yeah, that's fine. Go on.
I mean, unless you want to move Ake to left back.
Yeah, we could. You explain yours, and my argument for him might slip him in the side, but.
Ruben Diaz has now won the Premier League title in all 3 seasons he's had in England. He's the captain most of the time. I think they sort of chop and change that. I know when Gundogan sometimes captain, they
he's only like 23, 22.
Yeah, he's colossal. He missed 12 games. And it's quite a lot, but then City rotate a lot, so that's not too much for a City player. For them, yeah. He's just colossal, mate. And I think they're a far better team when he's in it. I know they've got such depth of choices. Laporte could even go in there. I actually think he's sort of maybe even over. I think he's the best defender they've got. Where he wins the ball, he's aggressive. John Stones is probably the best player, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, I'll after your sort of explanation of mine, I'll sort of expand on that.
Gone with Akanji because it's been, like I said, I put him in the signing of the season. He's been an excellent first season again, winning the treble. The Swiss international has ended on the winning side of 24 of his 29 Premier League games this season. In the 9 games he hasn't featured, they've won just 4. So I thought he's just been, whether that's been left back or right back. When Ake got injured against Bayern Munich, they thought they were a bit worried. We haven't got a left back now. They put him left back, and just quality against Real Madrid, Arsenal. Like they were they're their 2 biggest rivals this season. They were, and just didn't face them at all. But he started the Champions League final at right back. Didn't he start the FA Cup final at left back as well? And he's always been a player for Pep to go to when they've needed an option, and he's been the one he chose. There's some stat about he's made the only person to make more passes than Lewis Dunk and Rodri, but does that matter? For Pep it does.
Yeah, clearly. It does, yeah. Yeah, no, I like it. Like I said, I went Stones, but I've gone Nathan Ake. I think he stepped up massively this season and covered on the left side, predominantly left back, maybe slipped into the left side of a 3 and when needed played centre back. But he's played 41 games this season across all competitions, from 27 appearances the previous season. So it's a big step up for 13, 14 games more. City have won a treble and he's been heavily involved. And again, I don't think you think of City and go, oh bloody hell, like Ake's a brilliant player, Kanji's a fantastic player. They are good players, but when Ake first went, I thought, why has that happened? But similar to that, need a bit of time to bed in and get used to what's going on. That's it. I think he's a perfect example. It's taken him slightly longer, not even that a season, which is pretty normal. But Haaland's come in and hit the ground running. But yeah, I just think Ake, 41 games, like I said, and yeah, he's been a huge part of it. And he probably, I know he personally wants to play and do the best he can, but he probably didn't even believe in himself at the start, thinking, I'll get loads of games here. So
I actually think at the beginning of the season there was rumours he was going to go back to Chelsea. I think there was a few transfer talks about that. But Pep, there's a thing with Pep, and they say that he doesn't let a player fail. He'll always give you that chance, and that's what they're saying next year with Calvin Phillips, that he'll want to for his sake as well. He wants to make him good, to make sure that he doesn't look like he's.
They haven't had a bad player, have they? Like
flop.
Like
I can picture, I don't know, Danilio and Claudio Bravo, but that's literally it. Yeah,
but even with Bravo, like that was Pep who brought him in, and he played a lot of games. They still won things with him, and he made some mistakes, and people thought, God, oh no, but yeah, they just whoever has come in, he, like you said,
Danilio played in that 100-point team. Like.
Yeah, exactly. Pepper's made them into a brilliant team. But on the centre backs in particular, and like I said earlier about Jesus and Arsenal, I think Saliba definitely would have been in there if he'd have played the whole season, hadn't got a bad injury.
Yeah, I think the way Arsenal tailed off, if Arsenal won the Premier League, that whole back four is different. But it is the City. Them last 8 games. Well, that was the creme de la creme, but they moved to the top.
Yeah, they shifted.
Ben
game.
White didn't have his best last 5 games. Saliba obviously didn't play. Gabriel wasn't the playing player he is next to what's his name? Next
Holding
to Holding, and that's why Zinchenko sort of got there in default.
Yeah,
he was probably, as a defender, probably the worst defender out of the 3 of them, but that was a space where I thought he could play, and he was obviously been fantastic this season for us. But
I just thought because I'm sure
Saliba was transformative.
Yeah, and then again he's like what 21 maybe 22 or something.
Luckily signed him to a new deal. So
if he's fit again and he can, similar to that argument, like if he can consistently play a whole season, then you'll see how good he is. But I think any mix of those City players with a sprinkle of Newcastle and Arsenal, I think we'd be absolutely fine.
Yeah. So what should we agree on then? Trippier's locked in.
Yeah, Trippier, Pope. I think obviously.
Should we push Ake to left back?
I don't mind that idea. I do like that idea.
Should we push Ake to left back? And then...
Do you want Akanji in as you picked him signing of the season?
Should we go Akanji and Stones?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
I think at least 2 of our midfield will be the same.
Yeah. Could possibly 3.
Could be 3.
Depends what you've done. Have you done 3?
Yeah, I've done 3, yeah.
And then you've done 3 forward...
Yeah,
attacking more players. Yeah.
I think I know why you're putting that in inverted commas.
Because my team is. I mean, it's not a formation I'd like to play personally, but it's one that could work.
Are you shoehorning one player in?
yeah.
Central midfielder, Rodri.
Yeah.
I don't think there's much more to say,
Yeah.
but we haven't already said. 52 games, I think he's played. Fourth season at Man City, I believe it was. 3rd title, just a fantastic
and
player.
he's again about the age, but he's 26. Calvin Phillips is 27, and everyone's saying, like, for example, people saying, "Why'd you buy Phillips and not play him?" But that's why, because you got Rodri, who's a year younger and 10 times better than Calvin Phillips.
So there's a stat here I wanted to say, and this is why people joke that Arteta builds his team like mini Pep, mini City. This stat is mad because it's Rodri was crucial to Manchester City winning possession back to start their attacks. They Spaniard won possession of the ball 301 times, second only to Declan Rice.
Really?
So
yeah,
there's a theme that while regaining possession
baby.
187 times in the middle of the pitch was the most of any player. So they obviously, when they're pressing hard at the pitch, he's the one that gets it, and that's what they want when they're camping other teams in. The only player to better that was Rice, and that's Rice playing for a crap team this season. There's obviously, I've put these comparisons out between Rodri and Rice, where they're durable athletes. They play 52 games a year. That's why you're seeing, and I've said before, we'll sell Partey this summer because he can only play 25 games a season, and 5 of them he hasn't fit.
Yeah, exactly. 20. They're not 25 10 out of 10 performances either.
20, you're probably 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
But then 5 are like 3s.
Yeah,
and then the rest he doesn't play.
Yeah,
and if you want to compete on 3 fronts, you can't have a player like that. You need to have that durable player.
Yeah. I've got Rodri in there as well.
I could wax lyrical on him all day.
Yeah.
I've done it enough times.
I think I've got him in there because of your influence, but also I thought of him. Maybe because of you, but
scored the winner champ. I know this is Premier League team, but scored the winner Champions League final.
Yeah, and like you said, that many games, he's always there, and he's like you don't think of City and think, oh, Rodri. Like obviously some people do, but all the attacking players you think of first. But Rodri definitely. I'll go next one. I'll go Odegaard. Mine Odegaard, centre midfield. 15 league goals, 8 assists. Probably as close to a number 10 in the modern day that you can get, I think. Obviously, KDB's an extraordinary player and plays a similar role, but I think Odegaard's more suited to that role. He's again, I keep going about the ages of players, but he's 24 years old, captain of Arsenal. After this season, I think he's reached or getting to that potential that so many thought he was going to get to when he moved to Madrid at the age of 16, 17 years old. I just think he's brilliant. And it's similar to Saka. When you play Arsenal, you think, oh, bloody, like this season, oh God, how do we stop Odegaard? What do we do about him? Blah, blah. So, I think Odegaard goes in.
Yeah, like I said, he's 15 goals and 7 assists.
7, sorry.
He doubled his, I think it was 7, I can't remember.
7 or 8, yeah.
He doubled his goal involvement from last season. And he's just been he's captain. It was his first season as captain. He's just led by example. And one thing I like to say about him, even when we were in our sticky spells in the last 5, 6, 7, 8 games, he was the one that really stood up. He scored goals against West Ham, against Southampton when we weren't playing very well. And he did lead by example. I think it was a credit, like I said, he became a player that people thought could do it, but he actually went and did it. And 15 goals is a lot of goals for a midfielder who doesn't take penalties. No, didn't score any set pieces, and he takes corners and things like that. Though. Yeah,
I think he's very good, and always like a left-footed player.
He looks nice, doesn't he? Like even that goal, obviously you were right behind against Spurs. He looks aesthetically nice. He runs around the pitch, and he isn't. That you might think differently, but he isn't a moaner and a screamer like a Bruno Fernandes, who just looked dislikable.
Well, he's not. Exactly. He's not a petulant little child like Fernandes is. Well, he's not at the moment. He might become that, but I'll say that now, and that could change. But he's just very good. And again, you could have had. That was very robotic, but I think the team could have had more Arsenal players in it if certain players would have stayed fit. I think, but.
Could have also had more City players in it, and I wasn't sure you'd go Odegaard.
No, I've got
the other one is locked in.
Yeah, the other option
is Gundogan.
Oh, okay.
That was outstanding. He does his usual. Come the end of the season, scores, shed loads of goals.
Yeah, it just really becomes the showstopper. Yeah, I've got De Bruyne in, but only because of but like I said, 16 assists. His personal best return. Won the league again. He's a ridiculous player. Possibly. It sounds ridiculous, but gone under the radar because of Haaland. But obviously Haaland is enabled to do all of that because of players like De Bruyne. I just think, De Bruyne is in there as well. But I think you could have a debate. There's lots of shouts for Casemiro, but I just don't think that's correct, from my personal opinion.
No, I agree with that. It's the fourth time De Bruyne has got as many as 16 assists. No, 16 assists in the Premier League, I believe. And do you know half of them were for Haaland?
Were they?
He assisted Haaland 8 times.
Bloody hell.
And that's just that was the deadly duo that you knew was going to happen. And you saw it on the first game of the season. You thought, oh, God, here we go.
Yeah, that's at the start. I thought, well, they're just going to go unbeaten, aren't they? Just going to win every game, and it's a no contest. But. No, De Bruyne's a brilliant player. I think that midfield, are we going to go with that? De Bruyne, Odegaard, Rodri? Yeah.
Lock them in.
I think, that midfield 3 works very well.
Lock them in. Right onto the front line, shall we call it?
Do you want to start us off?
Yes, I'll start from the right, because I think the right before we locked in, the centre, the striker's locked in, and then I think you've got another striker. We touched him earlier. The young player of the season, Bukayo Saka.
Yep.
Just outstanding. You mentioned his goals, his assists. I think he was the first player in the Premier League this season to have double figures for goals and assists. There were other players that followed, but it was the first one to do it. And like I mentioned earlier with Rodri, the top players play every 3 days. They play every game. He played all the Europa games. He played the FA Cup game. He played he played the Carling Cup game, and it was just he plays every game, and it's because he needs to be that important. You can't go from playing 38 Premier League games and then resting in the Europa games. If you want to be like next season is now Champions League football, we could get a group of PSG, Arsenal, AC Milan, and whoever's in the fourth pot, and go and prove that you can do this on the biggest stage, biggest club stage, and that's what I think hopefully you can do. We mentioned it earlier about only being 21, and just the consistency and the maturity in his performances. Every week he's at least a 7. He's either seems to be scoring or getting assists at least every other game or whatnot. And I just think he's in the young players in the Premier League. There isn't many, if any, better than him. Yeah, especially in his position now.
Yeah, I think like Foden is an obviously exceptional player, but he just doesn't play enough. Like I'd love to play half as much as Foden does, but yeah, he just doesn't have the full season that someone like a Saka does. And there's obviously very exceptional young talents in the Premier League, but again, they're just not playing football. They're not getting the time. But yeah, for me, Saka's in there in whatever way possible. I think Haaland's done, nailed in.
You think?
I've just got Haaland robot. We spoke about him earlier. He's definitely in the side. But yeah, the third player, I've got Harry Kane.
So I knew you'd have him in there. So the left-hand side, it is my bias. It was because I knew you'd have Harry Kane in it, so I was like, we can squeeze him in there, whatever. We had Rashford, I had Martinelli. I went with Rashford in the end.
Really?
But I want to ask you a question. Is it harder? I think I know the answer to this. Is it harder? Would Erling Haaland score 30 goals for Spurs last season? Would Harry Kane score 36 goals for Man City last season?
Yes. I don't think Haaland would have scored 30 for Spurs.
Yeah.
No way. Because we're just essentially not good enough. But yeah, I think Kane scores 45 in City's team. Like, I just think
this is what I've been saying. Yeah. I think obviously Haaland has done unbelievably well. Unbelievably well, should I say. They sold Jesus because Jesus is bloody fantastic, but he isn't prolific.
He's and that's with Jesus. He'll never score. I mean, he might, but I don't think he'll score more than ever. Maybe 20 more than 25 goals in a season.
No, I don't think he'll score more than 20. But
I just don't think he's that.
He can be involved
striker.
in more than 20 goals.
Yeah,
but as a striker, no. But Kane would have broke this record 2 years ago if he'd gone in that summer, because City just do create these chances, and it's just
and that's what I want to say about the team this season. Like, yes, Kane has scored 30 goals. I think he deserves to be in this team. And we also know that on paper, Harry Kane is probably one of the best players in the Premier League, but we also know that Van Dijk is probably one of the best centre backs. Alisson's probably the best goalie. Like, Salah on his, I was just randomly picked off 3 Liverpool players, but Salah on his day is probably one of the best forwards. But we're trying to do a team this season and on form as such. So yes, for me, I think Kane should be in there, scoring 30 goals.
De Bruyne or Odegaard out wide and get a 4-4-2
Well,
in there.
that's for me. Obviously, the formation-wise, Kane, Haaland, they're not going to play left wing. That's ridiculous. But do you play a 4-3-1-2 like with a Saka behind them too? I don't know. Or do you play a 4-4-1-1, Kane, Haaland up front and Saka on one wing and, don't know, De Bruyne off the left? I don't know So for me, roughly a team a season is what it is. As long as there's 11 players in near about the right area, I think it's fine.
I'd be happy to swap my left winger out for Harry Kane.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think he's had a better season than Rashford and whoever, Martinelli.
Controversially, I think for Rashford, I think his season literally went straight line, massive peak, and then like a straight line since they won since like February.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact, but I think he only scored like 2 or 3 goals from then. He went like January, February were like absolutely nuts post World Cup, and then he just got 30 goals in all comps. Like, that is pretty impressive. Very impressive, shall I say?
I mean, obviously, Kane 30 goals in the league is brilliant. Yeah. He only scored 32 goals. 1 in the Champions League, 1 in the FA Cup.
Only 1 in the Champions League, and that was 7 games you would have played. 8 games you would have played.
Yeah, played the group stage and got to
AC
Milan.
Won it. 1-0 won it.
Yeah, and scoring the FA Cup. Obviously, 30 goals in the league is brilliant, and he's a fantastic player. We know that, and he's had a good season, and we are 8th because of him. If he scores 10 goals, 15 goals, we finish 14th. And even in those games that I want to forget, but he's the one getting involved, picking the ball up, spraying the ball, and then getting in the box and scoring. He's just a brilliant player. So I think the front 3: Kane, Saka, Haaland.
The parallels with Kane and Spurs this season to Arsenal. Actually, I'm actually wearing the shirt. I was wearing it. Took it off earlier. It's too hot in here. The 2010-11 season for Arsenal and Van Persie, he scored 30 Premier League goals in a struggling team. We just about got 4th, and that was the year he went to United with 1 year left in his contract.
And that, like you said there, but that could have happened when we got 4th last season, if you like, 2 seasons ago. Kane and Son were brilliant. Kane was excellent. He was even better than he was this year, I think, as a player. But obviously didn't score the goals. But yeah, it probably should have been very similar to what happened to Van Persie.
But like you said, he's a fantastic player, and you'd like to think. Well, I think he'll probably stay.
Yeah, I'd love Kane to stay. I'd love him to play his whole career at Tottenham, and that'd be it. But if he goes, then absolutely no reason, no blame on him at all.
And he became the second. During the season, he became the second all-time Premier League goal scorer, whilst also becoming Spurs' all-time leading goal scorer, didn't he, as well? And also becoming England's all-time leading goal scorer.
And added to that tally the other night. It's a huge game against Malta.
Yes, he might have even added it tonight as well.
Yeah, we don't know actually. I'll have a look. I'll have a quick look.
It must be nearly full-time. I was actually thinking last weekend was the Champions League final, wasn't it? That was the last weekend of any club football. This is the last weekend. Did you see?
Sorry to interrupt. He actually has England.
Is it another penalty?
No.
Oh,
4-0 up against North Macedonia. Harry Kane with the first. Saka with Saka, Rashford, then Saka. Young B with 2.
Why is Saka still playing? Come on, man. Just
why any of these players? Why are we even bothering? I don't know. It's just stupid, isn't it?
It's what's it? The 19th of June. Come on, Saka needs to rest. Rest God's child. You see, old Spain won the Nations League last night on a 0-0 penalty.
Yeah. Didn't even know it was on. What rubbish.
Let's recap then. So we got Nick Pope, Kieran Trippier, Akanji, John Stones, Ake, Rodri, De Bruyne,
Odegaard,
Bukayo Saka, Harry Kane, and Erling Haaland.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
Right. Which player has been selected in the most PFA Team of the Years in the Premier League era?
I'm going to go my first reaction to that question when you started with it. I'm going to go Ryan Giggs.
No.
Purely because he played loads of games.
Yeah,
that's all I can say. And obviously played for one of the best sides and won loads of things. But obviously not. Is it that sort of era or is it? Yeah, okay. David Beckham?
No.
Is it Man United or?
No.
No, okay.
Played his whole career in the Premier League.
Okay. Oh, Shearer?
No, well, 99% of his career. 99% of his career.
Yeah, okay. I'm just throwing out names there. Let's have a think. All right. Okay. Rooney?
No.
Oh, no, I'm going to keep guessing. It's not fair. I need a clue. Give me a clue.
The clue I was going to give you.
If you can.
I said he wasn't United. You just said Rooney.
Yeah. I was fixated on Rooney.
Midfielder. Central midfielder.
Is he English?
Yes.
He's not your mate, Fat Frank, is it?
No.
Is it Gerrard?
Yes.
It is Gerrard.
Yeah. No, we never won it.
What's that, sorry?
Never won Premier League, did he? But they got 8 appearances in the PFA Team of the Year.
No, yeah.
What fantastic player, so yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Most seasons it was either him or Lampard, wasn't it, really? In that. Yeah, 2005 to 2000.
You had Gerrard or Lampard?
Well...
Or Rodri.
I used to really like Lampard, but actually since Lampard's become manager,
I've
really gone off him.
Yeah.
I love the fact that Lampard scored load of goals. I don't know. I'm Patrick Vieira, man.
Yeah, I was going to say, probably.
I actually did used to really like Lampard, but no, actually, like I said, his managerial career is really affected by
memory of his
rose-tinted memory of him.
That's mental, isn't it? Yeah, there's people that grow up and they'll only know Lampard as like a failed, horrible manager and don't even realise what he done as a player.
Funny enough, you say something. I did an induction at work the other day, and the bloke was born in 2002.
Oh God.
And we just chatting. I was like, "He's Arsenal," and I was like, well, he won't know Thierry Henry. He won't know. He will know of them, but he would have been.
You won't realise.
He would have been born, maybe not even born, when Arsenal won the double. When Arsenal won Invincible, he would have been 2. So he won't know these players. He won't know. His memories will be of Arsene Wenger being he was crap. He was a rubbish manager. He won't know Highbury.
Yeah.
He won't know these
He'll know Emery.
But you'll have people now who won't know what Hart Lane.
Well, no, we have people now that. I mean, I'm 25. I'm not like an old bloke who's like been through it all with Tottenham. But yeah, we have people now that expect top four and expect us to sign players for 100 million and compete with Man City and whoever at the top with all the money. Like, it doesn't work like that. But yeah, no, you're right.
There'll be people who don't know success, Man United fans.
Yeah.
Well, actually, there won't be. They'll support Man City instead.
Yeah. Well, they won the League Cup this year, didn't they? So.
Right. End of the season.
Done.
I think and dusted. We will be back in the summer with
yeah.
special episodes here and there. Hopefully, we'll get some more guests on, or we'll see what happens in the next few weeks. We might even do another. We might have to do another manager 11 at this rate.
Yeah, could be. Could have a little. Could be 11 of managers.
Sacked versus unsacked.
Yeah. No, yeah, like we said before, we've got a few ideas, and I think we'll carry on. Probably have a little stop at some point.
Yeah, we don't like do a transfer thing, even if it's like a short 30-minute recap of what's happened.
Yeah.
There'll be plenty of talk about. There always is, like Gary Neal sacking. There could be. Who else needs managers in the Premier League? I don't know. My brain's gone, but I'm sure there's.
Well, like we said, there's probably changes that we don't even expect. Like Bournemouth now need a manager. And obviously, I think they've got one, but yeah, no, there's So we'll find some things to talk about. Like I said, get hopefully some interesting people on to talk to and give you a bit of different podcasts to listen to.
Some of our mates who were fans of XYZ teams, and yeah, we'll go. Then by the time we know it as well, it will be August the 5th, 6th, the weekend before the season starts.
Back to it.
We're back to go again. But again, no, thank you for listening. Hope you really enjoyed it. Again, keep giving your feedback, and if you're a new listener, then let us know, or follow us on the Instagram, or give us the 5 stars, please.
Yeah.
Or leave a rating on Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen.
Yeah.
Because it all helps us out. So,
yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. So, without further ado, stay loyal.
Stay loyal.